Okay, let's go.
Hello, hello, fans of Major League Soccer and Liga MX. Hello, lovers of the beautiful game. And hello to the millions
and millions
of Defenders of the Bank listeners. This is a special Leagues Cup Getting to Know Our Opponent FC Juarez edition. First things first, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 2 weeks or so since we've last seen or heard from each other, but it certainly seems like it's been forever. Hopefully everybody's summer is going according to plan. Hope you're enjoying your time off. I know Scarf and I did, but we still packed our plates with plenty of spoonful, maybe shovels, I should say, of the beautiful game. It was awesome. If you're new to our show, please allow us a moment to introduce ourselves. Coming to you from world-famous Philomonster Studios in Burbank, California, a mere stone's throw away from Warner Brothers Studio. My name is Christian Philemon, a.k.a. Philly, the platinum-colored-haired flamingo. And joining me, my partner in pod and one of my bestest friends in the whole world, coming to you from in front of his world-famous wall of threads, the Warlock of Wool, the King of Knits, the Nobleman of Neckwear. They call him Der Schal in Germany, La Bufanda south of the border, and of course, in the U.S., Canada, and several other parts of the world, they call my man J.R. Liebert
the Scarf. What's good, everybody? It feels good to be back doing this. A much-needed distraction for me right now. Not going to get into that, but I'm happy to be sitting here online next to the Platinum Flamingo himself. That's why I have so dubbed myself the Gray-Haired Goose. Why not? That's what I'll be working with for today. Philly, this is really exciting. Leagues Cup, I'm going to say, way more exciting to watch than I thought it was initially going to be. It has been a battle between Liga MX clubs and Major League Soccer clubs. I do want to point out, Philly, and we got all kinds of fun facts for Leagues Cup in just a minute, but Canada, the entire country that Robin Williams calls a loft apartment over a really great party, Canada has exactly one win in Leagues Cup in regulation, and that would be Vancouver's victory over Carson. So thank you, Canada, for the one win. We appreciate you.
An abrupt halting of the pause. That was such a good game, too. I don't know if you got a chance to scope it out, but Carson went up first on the heels of none other than Ricky Pooch. And then Vancouver clawed their way back into the game to tie it. And just as we thought that we would go into PKs, oh, Brian White, oh, Brian indeed, our Brian song, he put it in the back of the net, stunning a mere, 7,000 at Dignity Health Sports Park. It was a glorious, glorious game, as have been a lot of these games in the Leagues Cup, Scarf. A lot of upsets have transpired. I mean, today alone, we watched the mighty Club America go down bad to the Columbus Crew. At the time of this recording, Cruz Azul is down. Not Cruz Azul. Chivas is down to Sporting Kansas City. And, I'm shocked. Some of the guys down, Louis, Seattle, Austin. I mean, this has been a fun and crazy tournament.
Yeah, look, it's been really even so far too. By the way, Leagues Cup, we should start by talking about whatever the heck Leagues Cup is. First of all, let's not forget there's a big beautiful trophy at stake here. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I think we've got a cool picture of that big beautiful trophy up there somewhere. I think it's there it is. Look at that big beautiful trophy. That's kind of neat. I would love to add that to our trophy case at BMO Stadium. We get to enter this in the round of 32, but that's not until after all of the teams have played in the group stage, and it has been so much fun with 28 results in the books. And I'm going back to check right now while I'm talking to you. That Chivas Sporting KC game is indeed still going. Let's see here. Still going. If Sporting KC holds on to the 1-0 win, then that means 29 out of the 30 group stage matches are completed. 29 out of 30. 12 regulation wins for MLS and 12 regulation wins for Liga MX. It has been very even. This is a lot of fun to watch. And as some of you are talking about it in the chat, it's also made a lot of money for all these teams as well, especially Philly. That first match of Leagues Cup, I don't know if you caught it. Maybe you were one of the 300 million people around the world that were streaming it. But look, we had our Hollywood ending with Gareth Bale and then John McCarthy doing what he did. I don't know, Philly, if anything compares to the Hollywood ending they had in Miami.
It was unreal. And we knew that Messi getting into the game was going to be a worldwide global sensation. And quite honestly, the game against Cruz Azul, that was a game in which Cruz Azul should have walked away with an easy victory. They were controlling the match, and if it wasn't for the efforts of Miami's goalkeeper Calendar, Miami would not have had the storybook ending that they did. But you insert Messi into the lineup, he comes out there and just scores a banger of a goal. One of the prettiest goals you'll ever see, regardless of what league that you follow. And it was glorious. At the death, Inter Miami doing their thing. And you saw the chemistry between Joseph Martinez, Busquets, and Messi right off the bat. They still were a little shaky as far as their back line is concerned because they still gave up way too many opportunities to Cruz Azul, but Calendar kept them in the game, and it was just such a special ending. I know all of us who are big fans of the game certainly appreciated that moment for Messi, and he just made it look so easy.
Yeah, and look, with all of the clubs moving on to the round of 32, one franchise isn't moving on, but all of the clubs that are moving on into the round of 32, I do want to throw out there that this could go very badly for Major League Soccer if you do think of this as, instead of just like a one ring to rule them all kind of tournament, if you also kind of think of it as a Liga MX versus MLS tournament, because that's also kind of what it's being billed as, right, Philly? This could go really badly for MLS. Here's why I say that. In the round of 32 so far, remember, we have two matchups still in play with Sporting KC and Chivas, and then Colorado's Lightning Storm that they've got with Toluca right now. But in those matchups, Philly, we have 9 matchups that we guarantee an MLS versus Liga MX team, and only 1 matchup versus a Liga MX team versus a Liga MX team, which means you have at least 4 of MLS on MLS. We're going to get potentially, Philly, we only have 2 guaranteed MLS clubs moving into the round of 16. Only 1 Liga MX one, but you imagine, let's just say Liga MX goes on a little run here in the round of 32. We could have 13, maybe 12, 13 Liga MX teams and only 3 or 4 MLS clubs in this round of 16.
Well, I mean, we certainly had the lion's share of teams going into this tournament. That goes without saying. And there's just been so many shocking upsets. The teams that you would have expected to really compete and go far in this tourney from Liga MX, I mean, Club America's out. I mean, I can't believe how badly they lost to the Columbus Crew. And now we're in injury time with 8 minutes to go. And it looks like Sporting Kansas City, fingers crossed to them, can walk away with a W there too. And then just you look at Monterrey and probably León and Tigres as your favorites to carry the mantle for Liga MX. But it's been fun. I didn't think I would enjoy this tournament as much as I have. And I really have enjoyed most of these matches. Some of them have been godright awful. Not going to lie. I'm not going to just spout nonsense, even though I kind of do. But a lot of these games have been competitive, and it's just been fun. It's also been a lot of fun taking a break and getting to watch the games and not necessarily analyze them and talk about them. But after 2 weeks, I'm glad that we're back to doing it.
Well, get ready, because we're going to have to start analyzing and talking about it, starting with FC Juarez. I think the unlikely opponent, you might say, right, between LAFC and FC Juarez coming up. This is a lot of fun here, getting to know teams that I can tell you, Philly, I can count with 0 fingers on any hand you want to pick how many matches I've ever seen played by FC Juarez. So I've never watched them play. They're a club that is relatively new, right? They've only been around since 2015. They've only been up in Liga MX in the top flight since 2019. So look, this is fun getting to know. I really dig, by the way, whoever did that logo. Philly, you must be loving that logo, right? A little neon red, neon green, cool little Mustang going on. It looks like a Mustang, or I'm probably wrong. It's not a Mustang, but it's still pretty cool.
Well, it's a horse, and they're also known as Los Bravos, the
Oh,
Braves. And you're right.
yeah.
May 29th, 2015 was their start. They were owned by a consortium of 6 families, 2 of which live across the border in El Paso, and they're associated with the Hunt family, by the way.
Yep.
And then the other 4 families, if I'm not mistaken, over on the other side of the border. So this is a team that has international ownership, which you can't say that goes for a lot of Liga MX teams. And from their start, going into the Ascenso MX, which for those who don't know, that's the second tier in the Mexican football pyramid. I mean, they came out and competed relatively well. I mean, I think they finished tops. They lost the promotional game, but they certainly had a great inaugural season. And then 2019, they replaced Lobos in the top flight, and then they got moved up in there. But up until this season, I would say they've had a tough run, Scarf, because last year, 2022, 2023, the Apertura and the Clausura, between those 2 seasons, this is a club that only won 7 games out of the 34 they played.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I say, it's a real surprise that they've made it as far as they have, although it's because they've got some players that are vastly different than that club in 22-23. You can see it there, 11th, 1 spot under León in the Apertura, and then in the Clausura, 16th. So yeah, this was not a club that was playing very well. Look, and they also, let's be real, they didn't get promoted. They replaced a club. They replaced Lobos, who had been around for 50 plus years. The team, unfortunately, hitting financial troubles. Look, that was the story with a lot of teams around the world in 2019, 2020, thanks to the global pandemic and, by the way, other financial issues that are always seeming to rear their heads in Liga MX play. So they didn't get promoted. They didn't, quote unquote, earn their spot. But here they are in Leagues Cup in really the first tournament that they've been able to play in since they've come up to Liga MX, and they're doing the most with it. I can't be upset with a club who makes the most of the opportunity for the first time that they can play for something more than the Apertura or the Clausura.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And to start off this season already, they're not doing too bad. They're currently 3rd place in the Apertura. They've got 2 wins and 1 tie, no losses. And the teams that they have beaten going in, I mean, they've beaten Club America. They tied Tigres. I mean, they've done some things against some pretty formidable opponents. So they're coached by Diego Mejia, 39 years old, another one of these young, talented coaches coming out of Mexico. And he was their assistant coach last season. He spent some time with Dorados. He spent some time at Atletico Morelia. But he's starting off this season very, very well, beating some really good teams. And surprisingly, his team's advancing, playing the reigning defending MLS Cup champions. And they've had and how they were last season, this is a team that we should not look past. I know a lot of people are going out there selling their tickets. I know if you opted in as a season ticket holder, these tickets were for free. In fact, in some places, I've even seen tickets going for as low as $7. But this is going to be a good game against a pretty tough opponent.
Yeah, look, they're not a name that'll draw anybody in. I mean, we talked about them not doing well in 22-23, but let's not get it twisted. The guy you just mentioned, Coach Diego Mejia, he wasn't there in 22-23. He took over this year, brand new guy. One of the guys that we're going to talk about with all of our players to watch, in my opinion, the most lethal weapon came over in 2023. The guy you're going to talk about came over in 2023 as who you feel might be the most lethal weapon on this club. This is a club that's retooling and rebuilding itself. And it looks like they might be a player this year in the 2023 Apertura. It'll be interesting. It's kind of fun. They've developed a rivalry, Philly, with a USL club, the El Paso Locomotive. They are very, very close. They're right down the street from each other, basically, just over the freeway there on the overpass. Look, can I throw out a couple of fun facts about Juarez real quick before we get into all the different players?
Always. All
right, I'm really excited. Here we go. All right, so they are just south of El Paso, Texas, on the Rio Grande in the Mexican state of Chihuahua. And together with the surrounding areas, the cities of El Paso, Juarez, form the 2nd largest binational metropolitan area on the Mexico-U.S. border after San Diego, Tijuana. So with a combined population, 3.4 million. And Philly, I know you know this already, but Benito Juarez is the namesake of the city of Juarez, Mexico. They changed it from El Paso del Norte in the 1800s. He is considered the most popular president of Mexico. He was the first indigenous president of Mexico. And Philly, he did everything before he became the president of Mexico, by the way. He was Secretary of the Interior. He was Secretary of Public Education, the president of the Supreme Court. Dude was awesome. And Juarez, by the way, was a site of some U.S. history, too. The first time ever that a U.S. president crossed the border into Mexico and met with the sitting president of Mexico. That was done in Juarez. Kind of neat in Ciudad Juarez. Look, William Howard Taft didn't get out of bed much to do a whole lot. He was one of our larger presidents. So the fact that he went all the way down there to Ciudad Juarez to meet with Porfirio Diaz, that's kind of neat. Look, I love stuff like this. I love when we get to go and learn about new cities, learn about new teams. Wrestler Eddie Guerrero, Philly. Eddie Guerrero from Ciudad Juarez, as well as 1997 New York Metropolitan Juan Acevedo, which I know you were very excited to learn about. So that's fun.
Yeah, the most populous city in Chihuahua, and I've actually been to Chihuahua calling indoor games. Pretty cool stuff. It's when you look at the map of where the downtown El Paso is versus where FC Juarez plays, it's like 3 miles and change. It's like a 5K if you can cross the Rio Grande. It's so stinking close. It's unbelievable. Chris, yes, this ticket was free. When you opted in for the League's Cup, the first game was given for free. The next set of round of matches, that's where money it started costing money. Oh, and by the way, defenders, keep an eye out on your accounts tomorrow, because if you didn't opt out for the Campeones Cup, that's the match between LAFC and Tigres, you are going to pay for your tickets. So just an FYI.
Philly, got a question for you real quick, and then we can get into all these players and everything. If I mention yellow cards in MLS, who's the first player's name that you think of?
Dare I say Jesus David Murillo?
No, not on our team. Maybe think Portland. What do you think about Portland? Anybody on
Diego
Portland?
Chara.
Diego Chara. What's with guys named Diego and getting yellow cards? The head coach, Diego Mejia, he only played in 390 matches in his career. 117 yellow cards. Dude was getting a yellow card every third game, and he kind of brings that fire to Mazatlan, to Juarez. It's going to be so much fun to watch this coach. You mentioned it, 39 years old. I'm really liking this. This is going to be so much fun. Philly, let's get into some of these players. Although, before we do
that, we should get to how Juarez got here before we get to the players.
Well, did we just totally go past? We're really organized with this, guys. It's the first time we've done a podcast in 2 weeks. Can we actually go back? We have producer Panda on the ones and twos right now. Thank you, Panda. Can we go to our second slide so that we can talk just a quick second about the bottom part of all this cool information that we're going to have up about 4 weeks, 3 countries, 2 leagues? There it is. The top 3 teams, Philly. We go right into the round of 32. The top 3 teams get automatic bids into the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Obviously, that's the new name for Champions League. And more importantly, the winner of this goes into the round of 16. So they essentially get a bye into the CONCACAF Champions Cup's next round. So 3 teams of the 32 that remain after today, 3 teams have something to play for. And if you win the first match, then you got a 1 in 5 chance basically of going to the Champions League. This could be really exciting, Philly, because look, it could be 3 MLS clubs. It could be 3 Liga MX clubs that are getting all of these spots. And whoa, wouldn't that be a huge conversation starter? I
mean, I don't care about any other Liga MX teams or any MLS teams. I just want LAFC to get in there, advance, and bring home a trophy, because we're not going to be getting a berth to the CONCACAF Champions Cup as a result of Supporter Shield. We still are sniffing St. Louis SC, so we might not finish in the top of the West. We would have to win MLS Cup at that rate to go there. But if we win this tournament, this certainly asserts our dominance in terms of MLS and Liga MX. I mean, we become a regional champion in some way, shape, or form. So forget all the other clubs, Scarf. We're talking about LAFC.
All right.
Actually, we're talking about FC Juarez because that's the point of this pod.
Yeah, you wanted to get into how FC Juarez got here. So let's get into it, Philly. They played 2 matches to get here, and it's a 1-1 draw with Mazatlan in the first match. But, oh, by the way, every one of these matches goes to PKs, and it was Mazatlan winning 4-2. And I got a little bit of an issue with how FC Juarez chose their penalty kick takers. FC Juarez, by the way, even though the scoreline 1-1, they didn't score. It was an own goal by by a Mazatlan player. So we're looking at no goals in their first match. But Philly, that certainly would not be the case in their second match, both of which, by the way, were played at Q2 Stadium in Austin.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I really thought when Mazatlan won, I really thought that we would end up getting Austin as far as the next round is concerned. I didn't think that they would go down this badly to FC Juarez, which, again, it opens your eyes, especially if you're sort of new to Liga MX, knowing how well that they've competed over the last year. This isn't a team that you would have imagined beating a team that should be in contention for some kind of playoff berth within MLS. I mean, they're sitting in 5th place in the Western Conference, and they got some really talented players. But the fact that they won that game, super excited, because now we have an opportunity, like you said earlier on, to do some research about a club that we would have never spent much time doing research for. I still would have preferred to play Mazatlan just because did a little bit of research and homework on them, just with all their history, which isn't all that much. But, I mean, it's fun that we get to do a lot of homework in regards to a new team. That's what I enjoy. I was dreading the idea of having to cover another Austin game. It's just not fun when you're talking about the same teams and the same players. And that's another reason why I truly do enjoy this Leagues Cup. Because, look, I'm going to be honest. My bandwidth is so finite. I can't pay attention to every single league that's out there. As much as I'd love to, I have a full-time job. And watching MLS and doing this pod is a full-time job. But, man, it's good. It was fun doing the research. There's some quality players on FC Juarez, Scarf.
Yeah, look, Philly, they call us defenders of the bank because we love our defenders. And actually, the first player that we are going to spotlight is a player that I know you were really high on the back line, number 28, Luis Rodriguez. Philly, tell the millions.
And millions.
A little bit about our friend, number 28, Luis Rodriguez.
I mean, you could argue that he's one, if not the best players on this team. I mean, here's the guy that we're actually familiar with defenders because he played with Tigres on that CONCACAF Champions League team in 2019. In fact, he spent a significant portion of his career down in Monterrey with 177 apps. Also played at Chiapas, by the way. But in addition to that, he's featured for El Tri on 38 occasions. This is a pretty well-capped defender, and he was a 2019 CONCACAF gold medalist with El Tri. He's a very well-traveled player and a very solid talent. I will say against Austin, he certainly lost a lot of duels in that match, in the matchups that he's had in that back line, but arguably their best and most talented player.
Yeah, look, I love our defenders. Don't get me wrong, but this is not a team that cares, that scares me at all when it comes to their back line, when it comes to their defense. I'll even say when it comes to their keepers. We'll talk about them in just a little bit. So all due respect to number 28, Luis Rodriguez, if he's losing duels to the likes of Mazatlan and Austin, when he's got to go up against players like Jesus Murillo or maybe even Mamadou Fall, we'll see how many minutes he gets, if any, in this next match coming up. But if they're losing duels to guys in Austin and to Mazatlan, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Even Daniel Maldonado has done a decent job winning duels on the back line for us, or at least getting into the box and winning duels there too. So excited to see Luis Rodriguez, and that I think we're going to score a ton of goals on Luis Rodriguez. Philly, there are two players that I am really looking forward to seeing in this match, and those are two guys on the front line, Aitor Garcia and Amari Escoto. Look, that's two players who do a lot of the scoring for Mazatlan. Aitor, look, first of all, let's talk about a player. We mentioned they are a vastly different team from 22 to 23. One of those reasons is because of Aitor Garcia. Played his entire career before coming over to Mexico in Spain, mostly for Sporting Gijon in La Liga 2, except now he comes over to Juarez and has really taken the mantle as a goal scorer. He scored a brace in that win over Austin, which I thought, he looked great in that. He scored against Toluca in one of their Liga MX matches. He scored against Club America in their first Liga MX Apertura match. By the way, Brian Rodriguez started and played the first 67 minutes in that match, did absolutely nothing. But Aitor is one of those players, Philly, that I think Aitor is one of those players that we have to watch out for over the course of the match. And to me, I know you've got another player in up your sleeve over there, but the 30-year-old Mexican Omari Escoto, the guy has 66 goals in just over 300 appearances. He has played all over Mexico, and he's a player who is starting to find his scoring touch right now with FC Juarez. He's scored in several matches already this season, and it's just, again, one of those players that I think that if LAFC isn't careful, a player who I feel is lesser caliber can come up and sneak up on you, and I think that's exactly what a player like Escoto can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And he didn't start both Leagues Cup. For the most part, FC Juarez kept their starting lineup. The only difference being they did a flip-flop between Escoto and Diego Chavez. But you're absolutely right about Escoto, a formidable player. Garcia, by the way, starting more FC Juarez, there's 3 of them. So number 33 is the one to keep your eyes on, the Spaniard himself, Aitor Garcia. But the player that I'm excited about, especially if you're a fan of Major League Soccer, is their 26-year-old midfielder by the name of Sebastian Salcedo. This is a kid he's from the San Fernando Valley, baby. That's right. Representing out here. He's a homegrown, played in the RSL Academy. In fact, he was the 8th homegrown player ever signed from really Salty Lake. And he played in 83 games for RSL, scoring on 5 occasions. He also happened to get some playing time with Pumas and Toluca down in Liga MX as well. And here's a young man who represented the U.S. men's national team on the U18, the U20, the U23 side, and Mexico's U20. And if there's any player that should be excited to come play in LA in front of his family, it's this young man right here. And he has found the back of the net on a couple of occasions throughout the course of this League's Cup and, of course, throughout the early ongoings of the Liga MX season.
Let me tell you why I'm happy to see Sebastian Saucedo in the lineup, Philly. That's because Sebastian Saucedo, while he was with Salt Lake, like he is there in that picture, he played against LAFC not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. And you know how many times Salt Lake beat us in those 4 matches? 0. Played 13 minutes in a 5-1 loss. Played the full 90 in a 2-0 loss. He actually helped Salt Lake for one of the very few times in his Salt Lake career against us in 2019. He was taken down in the box at the bank to earn a PK, which, of course, Damir Krylok scored for them. And they still lost 2-1, even though he earned his team a PK, and he played 11 whole minutes in a 2-0 loss at RSL in 2019. When Sebastian Saucedo sees this crest a-coming, he knows it's going to be a loss. 0-4 in his career against LAFC. Bring on Sebastian Saucedo.
I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. And quick breaking news. In the 45th minute, in the match between Toluca and Colorado, we have Pedro Raul putting Toluca up 1-0 on the Rapids. So just a quick Leagues Cup update for the final match of the night.
As long as there's no lightning, that's fine. I'm good. As long as there's no lightning. All right, Philly, you're really high on midfielder Javier Salas, number 6. I want to make sure you get your moment in the sun talking about this guy, Javier, since you were insistent that we highlight Javier on this one. So here comes Javier from Philly.
If you believe in what you see on the transfer market information, as far as the players that have managed to start, this guy is the most valuable player on FC Juarez. The best player, unfortunately, I believe it's Moreno, who's valued at around $3.5 million. He's hurt, and he's not going to come back till mid-August, so he won't be there. But Javier Salas, the most valuable on the starting lineup with a value right around $2 million. And here's a guy who in 2018 won Copa MX with Cruz Azul. 2019, there was a rendition of the League's Cup, not in the current format, but Cruz Azul won, beating Tigres. He was a Liga MX All-Star in 2021 and a darn fine player to watch. So he's another one to keep your eyes on. He's a midfielder, number 6, Javier Salas.
Let me tell you how happy I am when I see that some teams' best players are midfielders, because normally, unless I guess lately Ricky Pooch, normally we can handle teams' midfielders pretty well. So look, I'm excited to see Javier Salas. He's a very good player, but not too worried. Not too worried about Javier Salas. Philly, look, I think this is fun because I don't know what goalkeeper we're going to get. This is going to be a lot of fun for us because look, for FC Juarez's last 2 seasons, they've had a clear number 1 keeper in Alfredo Talavera, who by the way, if I had to give him a nickname, it would be Memo's Towel Boy, because if Memo is healthy and playing, then Talavera is backing him up. That's for sure. But what they have done in Leagues Cup is started the young kid, Ramon Pascal. And I say the young kid, Talavera is 40. Pascal is 27 years old. His 2 starts in Leagues Cup are basically some of the most and only top flight experience that he has had throughout the entire course of his career. He's played in other divisions in Mexico, but he hasn't played a ton in times that matter. And so with Ramon Pascal, he's played fine. He's played, 170 matches or so in his career. I think 174 matches. Very few of those in the top flight. And he only keeps a clean sheet. I think he has 35 clean sheets in 174 matches. Anytime you're around 20%, that's not good. So this is a keeper that I'm not afraid of Ramon Pascal at all. And then you look on the other side, right, with their captain, Alfredo Talavera, who began his professional career in 2003, and he is still playing. 637 professional caps in Mexico, a Toluca legend. And yet, despite all of that, Philly, he's won Apertura once. He's won Clausura once. Now, look, he, of course, does have a win over the U.S. in the Gold Cup final in 2011. But he also has a loss to the U.S. in a Gold Cup final in 2021. And he wasn't even able to beat Germany in 2016. They only drew in the Olympics. So, look, this is a guy, Philly, who you mentioned it before, has 40 caps for El Tri, but almost all of those are international friendlies. Almost all of those are just fun games that when they need a guy, they go to Memo. And that's what they've done for the last 15 years.
I mean, that makes sense. Memo Ochoa's, a legend. A legend. He's been phenomenal anywhere he's gone. He's been the most consistent backstop that El Tri's had for a while. Of course, this guy get any opportunities to get in, but he had caps, which that by itself is a stat not to sneeze at. But regardless, in terms of how many wins and losses he's had in his career, the probability of him getting a W or an L tomorrow is very not likely, because they're going to more than likely go with Ramon Pascal to go in between the pipes against LAFC. So Alfredo, we only mention him again because of the history that he's had, because of his success that he's had at Toluca, the caps played. He is the captain of the team, but in that, we're just bringing him up so you know who this team's captain is. But he's not going to be somebody that we're going to have to worry about unless, God forbid, something happens to Ramon.
Well, we never know, right? Because Pascal, while he's been the starter this year, maybe they say, okay, now we're done with the group stage thing. Let's bring out some of the big guns for LAFC. And maybe they feel look, they've seen what Memo did once to LAFC. Maybe they think, hey, what if Memo's Towel Boy can beat LAFC as well? Look, I don't mean to disrespect the man. It's just that, look, when you've spent 20 years in the shadow of one person, I'd be a little upset. Although, again, he does have a Gold Cup final win to his credit. So
it's the greatest job. He's getting paid. He's hanging out. No pressure on him. I would do anything to be a national team's backup goalkeeper.
Hey, absolutely. Look, he's my age and he's a professional athlete. So anytime he can make that happen, that's something fun. So look, I think if anything, this is a really fun way to get to know a club that we don't know. Yes, they're not one of the blue bloods of Liga MX, right? This isn't a Cruz Azul coming in. This isn't a Chivas Guadalajara coming in. This isn't Club America. There are big names in Liga MX that resonate all over the world. They really are. Juarez is not one. And in my opinion, Philly, we're not going to help them get on the map after this match on Wednesday.
Scarf, out of the teams you mentioned, only one of them are going to be going forward. It won't be Club America.
right?
Officially, it won't be Chivas. Cruz Azul does get to play Charlotte, though, so they're in there. But look, FC Juarez can't hold it against them. They've only been around since 2015. But I'm really interested to see what Diego Mejia is going to bring to the table. He's already had this team playing well. They won, I said it earlier, 7 games over the Clausura and Apertura last year. That's 20% of the overall matches they played. They only won. One season they won 4 games. Another season they won 3. There's 17 games per season in the Clausura and Apertura. But that being said, despite the 3 games that they've played in, they're already leading the league in goals scored at 7. Although they are allowing in quite a few with 4. So still going to be a good team. I don't think that we're going to walk all over this club, Scarf. I think it's going to be a competitive match. And one thing I also just want to make sure that the millions know about is the fact that we have, and we're going to go through this in great detail on our podcast on Wednesday at the conclusion of this Leagues Cup game. Our new signings, Mario Gonzalez and Philip Krastev, they will be unavailable for the match Wednesday. So just an FYI, they're waiting for their P1 visas to get issued. So we will not have the new signings for the game on Wednesday. So just a quick FYI.
Right. And look, by the way, Cruz Azul is still in it. They're playing Charlotte.
I said that.
Yeah. No. And Club America also still in it, by the way.
What do you mean? I thought they were in the knockout round.
No, Club America is playing Chicago. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Wait, so we're still in group stages.
Well, I mean, they've advanced. They're playing Chicago on the 4th.
My bad, defenders. My bad.
That's okay. It's going to be, I mean, look, Tigres, León, Cruz Azul, Club America, a lot of the heavyweights are still in there. Pumas, who's played very, very well as of late. That's going to be a fun one. And look, if anything, if you pick a side and you care if it's MLS versus Liga MX, that'll be fun. Where is Daniel? Daniel, absolutely one more sleep tomorrow. We're going to give you our players to watch, even though you kind of got a smattering of our players to watch on this one. We're going to give you our score predictions. We're going to give you our keys to the match. I don't know what Philly's doing right now. He has making a face. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, no, like I feel like a schmuck. I thought I didn't do my background. Yes, America advanced. St. Louis is the surprising team from MLS that didn't go through. Chivas is not advancing. That I know for a fact. Yeah, no Chivas.
We also want to thank many of you for coming on. This has been a really fun episode. It's we get to have fun with this. I know we even have producer Panda who's all right, Lafferty. Listen, down in San Pedro today, real quick. This isn't part of what we're doing, but I might as well talk about it since Lafferty's yelling at us. Down in San Pedro today, Giorgio Chiellini, an incredible day today at Bonello's Pizza in San Pedro. Got to meet Giorgio, got to take a picture with MLS Cup and Giorgio, one of which I will cherish forever. The other is the MLS Cup. I love Giorgio more than anything. I got him on the back of this kit right here that somebody gave me. I don't know where I got this kit. That's pretty great. I don't know who gave it to me, but it was Philly. But listen, guys, we got a game on Wednesday. If you can get your friends out there, if there are indeed $7 tickets, get out there, get to the game. If anything, you can say you saw an international matchup between a Liga MX club and your club, the Los Angeles Football Club, not a franchise, a club. Make sure you guys can be out there for it, okay? Philly, I love you, but I'm actually getting a phone call that I really have to take. You know why. So I got to run. I'll let you kick this thing off or kill this thing at the end of it. I'm going to say bye. All right, Scarf, I'll see you. I'm going to stick with you for a little bit, defenders. Okay, bye. All right, later, buddy. I'll see you later. Yeah, so we have we get to be back at BMO together on Wednesday, so that's going to be a fun thing. Producer Panda, I don't know. Do we still have the graphic of the bracket for Leagues Cup? Is that available anywhere? Something we could pull up real quick? I just wanted to highlight a couple of things on that. Coming right up. All right, so if you pay attention to this bracket right here, we are on the upper left corner. As you can see, LAFC playing FC Juarez. When we win that match, we're going to get the winner of León or RSL. So we get to enact our revenge against a team that beat us in the CONCACAF Champions League final, or we get to prematurely welcome back Chicho Arango. And I got to tell you, his presence on that RSL team has been outstanding.
this is a team that looks pretty tough. I mean, between him and Danny the Moose Musovsky, I mean, they got things rolling over in Sandy, Utah. So again, LAFC advances past FC Juarez. Then we take on the winner of Leon or RSL, which either of the two games would be compelling, and they'd have a heck of a storyline for one reason or another. It's either to welcome back a hero or to enact revenge. It's one of the two. So stay tuned for that. If LAFC advances on through all the way to the final, as you can see, there are a lot of games between now and the final. And then we kick things back off at BMO on August the 20th against the Colorado Rapids. And this is going to go like right down to the wire with this tournament as well. But that's the story for this on the Getting to Know FC Juarez pod. We will be giving you a one more sleep tomorrow. We'll make it a quick 10-15 minutes. There's a reason why we didn't give you our keys to the game, players to watch, and score predictions. We wanted to save it for you tomorrow. But that's the story. So we certainly appreciate all of the millions. And millions for joining us tonight. And we'll see you all tomorrow and hope to see many of y'all's lovely faces at BMO on Wednesday as we start to roll again. The second half of the season, which is really the final third of it or whatever, is back end. Let's go LAFC. We still have the ability to make some noise and win some trophies. And on that note, Producer Panda, sign us off, baby. Have a good night, everybody.
Okay, let's go.